I know that she wouldn't mind me talking about this. The parts of the vocal that she'd sent initially was like kind of written in like Morse code, and it was just kind of like about like speaking to him, and he was a satellite, and the whole meaning behind that, like I wanted to like sort of really protect.
I'm Tia, and I'm here with Tennille.
How you doing?
I'm so good. And you make music as
HAAi.
I'm super excited that we were finally able to make this happen. This has been a long time coming.
I know, me too.
Back here in New York, where I first met you initially.
True.
I think like a year ago at the Humanize listening party.
Yes.
So it's actually come full circle.
That is full circle.
Yeah,
because that was
right?
quite early in the album campaign.
It was super early.
Yeah.
I remember like thinking, oh my God, this album doesn't come out in forever. And now I've heard it and I've had a taste of it and I need more. But also I remember you saying that you were really nervous because it was like your first time showing the record to people outside of your team, right?
Yeah. And I was like, especially when you're, sorry. I'm far too distracted for this. But,
I get it.
Oh, baby. Yeah, it was super exciting. I think just doing that kind of thing in such like an intimate place, close call, in such like an intimate space with, I don't know, it felt like everyone that was there with like full intention, and it was quite nice. And also that really takes away the anxieties before something actually goes out into the world, I think.
Oh my God, totally. Well, now it's been out for a couple months. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the release of a truly phenomenal record. Something that I thought about during that listening party that has only strengthened as I spent more time with the record is how you balance so beautifully this like extremely rare thing of having music that is about the club but not for the club.
Yes.
And it's amazing the way that you balance energy and emotion on a knife point and never sacrificing one for the other.
That's so kind. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is, I've like so much of my life, especially in the last like 10 years, in particular, I've spent so much time in clubs, but I feel like, so that is just kind of like in my DNA right now, you know, or in my DNA. I feel like the music that I'm kind of really loving making at the minute is just like, is more to be listened to, but I guess it's always going to be sort of infected by the club in some kind of way, you know, but like not necessarily music to dance to.
Totally.
But music to feel, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Was that an intention that you started writing with? Did you want to sort of like walk that line of like emotional record, but also very clubby energy?
I don't even think it was intentional, to be honest.
Wow.
I think like the emotion, absolutely. But I think the thing that I find, especially when I'm making music not for the club, is that like you're kind of governed by what comes out of you, and rather than, or like, you know, I feel like I don't have a huge say in like what I'm writing at the time. It's just like all the feelings come out.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
Like, yeah. So I never, you know, it just always starts. I think as well as like once I sort of got into the rhythm of like writing music to be listened to in this way, or like once I got like a couple tracks in, it just, your brain just starts thinking about like melodies and words and like little hooks and stuff. So yeah, and I think the clubby influence just is, yeah, like I say, just happens.
Totally. I mean, that was kind of my guess too. It's like very clear that this like emotional electronic piece, obviously it's something that you do very well, but kind of became part of the DNA of the entire project in the best way. Ambient dog noises over here.
Yeah, I'm here for this.
We love it.
Yeah.
But I really want to get into this record, and specifically Satellite. I mean, what an amazing album opener too.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful opening piece that really sets the scene for a really different kind of electronic album, you know.
Yeah.
It's something that builds extremely slowly. It opens up to you really gently, and even when you start to hear your production more pronounced in the mix, you're getting like some glitchiness, some computerized noises. The voices, aka the humans, are still very much front and center. And I feel like you play with this dynamic between human and computer throughout the record, but this is where you really establish that dynamic from the outset, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that you love that track, because it's
so good.
For all of us, it's like such a special, like such a moving track, and I think that we all brought our own kind of like story to it as well. And yeah, I think the thing that I wanted to, when I first started making Satellite, I knew that I wanted it to be the first track on the album, and I had this like thing where I think I did this a little bit with Baby, my last record as well, is that I like the idea of it starting at a point where you can just like really like kind of like invite people into like a bit of a world that you've built for them. And I felt like I really wanted, you know, even this like held choir at the start that I had full intention of it sort of like taking off and becoming really like super choral, which John played like a really, really big part in. And so did Illa from Trans Voices. There was this like kind of beginning. I wanted the kind of like tension and suspense of this like held note that just kind of opened its arms to you. And it was just like, I just loved making that track so much. And I get like so many, I think like Obi's kind of storytelling in that track as well is like deeply personal and I think really moving, and I get like so many messages from people just saying like, you know, how much the words have really like meant so much to them. And I feel like, I sent her like all these little screenshots, so keep on sending.
That's fantastic. Well, tell me about the name Satellite too, because I feel like in a lot of ways this opening track is sort of like the thesis of the whole record, and I think the name Satellite has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, well, the Satellite was like the name Satellite actually came from Obi, because she's written it about her late father, and it's basically I know that she wouldn't mind me talking about this. She also one of the parts of the vocal that she'd sent initially was like kind of written in like Morse code, and it was just kind of like about like speaking to him, and he was a satellite, and so I feel like that kind of. Yeah, I don't know the whole meaning behind that. Like I wanted to like sort of really protect as well, or like not interfere with, I guess. I mean, I could go into like great depth if we had 4 hours, but
one day
for
we
part
will.
two.
For part two, exactly. Well, I feel like connection, togetherness, connectedness, community are central to the entire record.
Yeah.
And what better way to illustrate that than through choirs? Like
100%.
This whole record is built on a choral foundation, and from that listening party, I remember you saying that you worked with, I think, 2 choirs, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. And I know that like Satellite on the whole actually was inspired by a session that you did with one of those choirs. I'm wondering if you can talk about Trans Voices. I'm wondering if you can talk about those choirs in general, and also how they informed the structure and sort of the perspective of the record.
Yes. Well, the first choir that I'd worked with was, I had a track on my last album called Purple Jelly Disc, which I did with Obi. She wrote to me years ago saying like, or like maybe like a year or something after it came out, and she's like, I've written this kind of like stripped back version, and she was like, I've sort of had some, I think she said I've got some like choir parts or something for it, and then we ended up getting this choir together in London, which was led by this incredible woman called Wendy Rose, and it was like more of like a gospel-leaning choir, and I think they tour with like the Bad Seeds, and she's done like just, you know, she's just incredible. And we did this day in the studio, and then did this basically a full like choral version of Purple Jelly Disc, which never saw the light of day. I think we were just like, it was maybe a bit far after the album came out. We weren't quite sure what to do with it, and then.
Give it to the people, Tennille. We need it.
Fully, yeah.
I mean,
literally. Well, now that the choir is kind of more like a thing, like more a thing that we're doing right now. Anyhow, and then, so basically I took the stems one day when I was in the studio, and I was with Pat Alvarez, who I co-produced a lot of the album with, and we just took some of the like choral parts and started like replaying them into like a whole new melody, and then that sort of like formed the first ideas of Satellite, and of another track, which I can't remember which one it is right now. Rushing.
I was about to say.
You know, when you're just like,
a reference point, because we do.
And then you know, time goes by. I'm still sort of like very early. This is long-winded, but we can.
I mean, I love a rant, so please.
I ramble. And so I was sort of. It had been a while since we'd written the like bed of that, and then I was working on another project with Illa, who's a founder of Trans Voices, and I'd wanted to work with them anyway, and then and then we basically wrote that from the ground up, and then John came into the fold, John Hopkins, and he's just way with harmonies and interesting timing, especially when it comes to writing harmonies like that, is just like nothing I've seen before. So we did that. Ella sang a lot of it, and then we got the whole choir in and recorded it live at the church studios. It was like a knock it out of the park day.
I am kind of getting full body chills thinking about it, so I can't even imagine witnessing it and being
Not
there.
the only one.
Clearly, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of all of the amazing people that you've brought into this record too, in addition to the choirs, you have this epic constellation of collaborators that you've worked with, everyone from Alexis Taylor from Hot Chip, and of course you mentioned Obi Frankie and John Hopkins. I really want to zero in though on the James Messiah collaboration.
I love James.
Because
he's so good.
He's so good. So James Messiah, poet, spoken word artist, absolutely beautiful. And this song, in Humanize, All That Comes Apart / Come Together.
Yeah.
I really kind of read it as like one of the emotional centerpieces, if not the emotional centerpiece of the record.
I love that you say that. How good is he though? Like,
so good.
Yeah.
So good. And I love that piece too because, well, for so many reasons. My turn to ramble now. But
please. I'm going to put this on my knee.
No, please do. Yeah, we'll be here a while. No, but it's really interesting the way that he sort of approaches this this beautiful spoken word piece. He's struggling with this sort of like dissonance that exists between his inner self and this outer self, and you hear him struggling with like this lostness and then also this desire to be found. And it's such a beautiful arc within itself.
Yeah.
But then the arc continues because your voice then comes in with so much reassurance, with guidance, with support, with love. And I love that, if you're listening to the record, you might interpret that as an entirely separate song, but they're very much billed as one unit in the record. I'm obviously intentionally, because that conversation between doubt and support is happening throughout the record, but it's really established in this particular track.
Yeah. I mean, that was amazing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was totally intentional. That kind of track in particular was, again, about like the stepping into a world. It was like, I feel like if Satellite was the kind of open arms, the All That Falls Apart was the like, come on in kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing with James, I've been such a fan of James Messiah for so long, and I was just so happy to have him on the record. His words just have so much like feeling to them, and they're one of the things that outside of like the kind of like story that he tells in that track, you can hear that he's like saying it through a smile. And there's something, even though there's like, it sort of takes you on a bit of a roller coaster of like sort of like ups and like of emotions in a way. I think the fact that you can hear that he's smiling is like makes it feel really like hopeful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, there's just his delivery, and he's just excellent. I wanted it to, I don't know, there was something about the sort of, there was a real intention behind like, how the beat kind of starts like really falling over itself in the start. That's the falling apart, obviously. Not to get too literal, that's kind of boring, but.
No, not at all. I'm a nerd for this
yeah.
stuff, so absolutely.
I kind of wanted it to feel like, because there's so much that we're experiencing right now for a lot of people that just feels like that. And it was almost like I kind of wanted it to all be like gathered, and then it kind of like enters into the bit that's sang. And it feels like, I don't know, I feel like for me that's like such a like Sunday morning sleepy, like, yeah.
Totally. I feel that deeply for sure. Obviously you've invited so many people onto this record in celebration of your queer community, your trans community. Yeah. And I also, though, feel like the voice that's really guiding us is yours. Like your voice is really the most important one, I think, in this record, because for the first time, I think, at least to this degree, you've sort of pivoted into the spotlight and you've sung a lot more.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Do you know what? It was great. Like, I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I think, like I was saying before, it just felt like, my background is like in bands and stuff and singing, and as much as I've like, happily stood behind machines for like so long, if it's like CDJs or even just making music with machines, like, I don't know, I just kind of felt, I sang on a couple tracks on the last album, and interestingly, because it wasn't like a vocal album, and I was really like pushing my production skills and really wanted to show that off, I think like this one I was like, I think that's down, but I actually, sorry, I think a lot of people didn't know that it was me singing, which was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also we didn't kind of make a thing of it, and I thought that was good because I wanted the last album to speak for itself. But I think this one I was like encouraged to sing more, by Daniel Miller actually from Mute, and it was with a very much like no problems if not. But if you thought about it, yeah. But also please do it.
Also please do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like so much emotional weight that is lent to the record because of your voice, I think.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I just felt once I started writing songs, it just came out more and more, and I was like, do you know what, I like fucking love this so much, and I really enjoy singing, and it also made me start like listening to the music that made me start singing in the first place, like Cat Power, for instance.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like You Are Free is like one of my favorite ever albums, and the greatest. Yeah, and I think that was like, once I don't know, like I love clubs. I spend so much time in them. It's like a huge part of my life and my love. But yeah, just making really kind of like sort of music that has like so much emotion and feeling to it in that way is really important as well.
Totally. I mean, you do show up also really vulnerably in these lyrics. And so I always,
it took a hot minute to get there, I'll be honest.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, which leads to my next question of like, were there specific songs or lyrics that were either difficult to write or that you were particularly proud of?
Yeah, well, interestingly, I think the thing was in the beginning, I think taking that kind of leap into really putting yourself kind of at the front a bit more is done with like great caution at the start, I think. Also because I certainly didn't want it to feel like jarring to anyone who had kind of been along for the ride with me behind the machines. So, and then also like there is always that thing, especially when you're writing lyrics, you're usually doing them like somewhere by yourself. And like anything that you make by yourself, you can have a moment of thinking that you're doing something really cool. Which is fine if it's not words, but if it's like not great and you show it to someone, and I think if it's your words, I was just really nervous to show it to anyone.
I doubt someone was like, those are terrible.
Yeah, what have you said? But I think you always do have that sort of like...
totally, that fear.
Yeah, fully. I did a session with this like amazing singer and songwriter. Basically, I was hoping that she could help me like rework what I'd done and make it like much better. And basically what we did in the session was she was just like, because I'd sent her the stuff beforehand, and she's like, I'm just going to hold up a mirror to what you've done and show you that it's like, it's good enough.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, like literally like how, like what a kind thing to say. And then she sort of encouraged me just to like keep on writing. And that was like a really big kind of like turning point for me, like in the making of the album as well. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I can hear that like affirmation like all over the words too, and like all over in the spirit of the record. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Humanize really picks up with Shapeshift, and I feel like that ushers in like a totally different era.
Yeah.
That is definitely more like club centric, even still maintaining that emotional core for sure.
It like goes everywhere, that track.
I love it so much because it also like, I feel like it's sort of like a loving fuck the haters chapter that it kind of like brings in. I'm kind of thinking of like that repeated refrain and voices that you're singing, and then definitely the audio note in Go before the words let it go. Yeah. And I don't know, I feel like that grouping of songs is very much about finding your own freedom among your chosen family, specifically in the catharsis of the club, because I feel like that voice note from Go, I can literally hear the club like behind, like happening behind. Yeah, is it? Okay, amazing.
That was intense. Yeah,
I love that.
You really listened.
I love this album.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm like so curious, like as you talk about clubs, as you sort of invite the club into this very emotional record, you know, what type of liberation did you yourself find in the club, and did that inspire you to pull that emotional thread into Humanize?
That's a really good question, actually. And I got to say, like that spoken word that is like a really, really dear friend of mine who's trans, and like a lot of like how we met was through the club. And when I heard it was actually, and they end up being which maybe we'll get to later, but like do the spoken word on HQ as well. And excuse me. But yeah, Kate and Ford, they're just like such a talented performer and like spoken word artist, and that snippet I've just listened to so many times. I feel like there's so much like kind of like raw feeling in there, which is sort of the way that they say that line as well is sort of almost not throwaway, but it's just like the delivery of it, but like the deep meaning of what they're saying is just, I don't know, it just like really affected me so much. And so I asked them permission to use it. And I think like for me, I think a big part of the sort of like leaning into the club stuff is like I've had so many amazing experiences, especially with like queer friends, where even sometimes if you sneak off to like a green room or sneak off to like another part of a club or a rave or a festival or whatever, and you can have those really kind of like earnest chats in those spaces. And I think there was something was really important for me to have that music in the background, because yeah, I feel like it really represented those really intimate moments that are like soundtracked by whatever's happening around you.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up Kate and Ford, because
Yeah,
I'm 100%
we love you.
going to 100% going to ask more, because HQ is so good. I have so many things to say about that song, but I just love the structure and the arc of this whole record, you know, blossoming really, really slowly and then ramping up, and then you do end with Caden's words again.
Yeah.
With really like in the, I don't know, with this like deep feeling of safety and comfort and community.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would have told you this before, but so HQ is basically like it's what we call our and this is literally what a lot of what Caden's talking about in that track is about. It is our friends. We've got this really beautiful circle of friends, mostly like queer, and we've spent so much time at our friends, Tom and Rich's house. We call our group of friends the Smoochers, and it's like we have this thing called like Smoochers Economy.
Okay,
yeah.
I wondered what that was about.
Yeah, and so Smoochers Economy is basically like, it's just about I don't want to sound too corny, but it's just about like seeing people, like fully seeing people, and like being kind and caring, and just like, you know, the door's always open kind of thing. So HQ is our friend's house. And
got it.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's why when Caden's like HQ is all we knew, it's like, and also, you know, when we've had friends, like queer friends moving from other country, or friends who were trans moving from another country, and I feel like it was just a place that everyone felt really safe and loved, and like, you know, and still do. And
wow.
So that's kind of where that comes from. And there's mention of a sofa in rose gold, and that's literally our friend's couch, and it's like one of the safest places I've ever felt, I think. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's
so
like, yeah. So that's the kind of story behind that. And I feel like we have this thing as well with when you meet someone, you know, like if we're out in the rave and we'll meet someone like, you know, who's just like an angel or whatever, we're just like Smoochers verified.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, we're just like, I met this person over there, the Smoochers verified.
Smoochers verified.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Good. It's so funny because I looked up, I was like, is there a club in London called HQ?
Yeah,
I literally
yeah.
Googled it
before too long. I mean, there kind of is, depending on what day of the week it is.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, you end the entire record on those same choral notes, too, that you begin the record
Correct.
with. So it almost feels like this is kind of a never-ending DJ set in a way, you know?
Yeah. This is, okay, so that is like such an Easter egg from the thing. And I feel like if you got to the end of the, you know, if you listen to it on vinyl or however you listen to it, the idea was obviously that it was, because I keep on talking about this kind of like hug thing or like this open arms thing.
Right.
I kind of just wanted it to feel like you were kind of like in this infinite loop of, you know, it could potentially loop around if you wanted. It starts even with the same. There's a sample that starts at the very start. I think it's like after the choir comes in. It says, "I live and hope for," and at the end it says the other half of the sample, and it says, "You're my destiny." So that is yeah. For me, I kind of wanted it to feel like, you could like live in that world and feeling like nice and safe for as long as possible. But one thing that I wanted to do, which I can't remember why I couldn't end up doing it, but there's this thing that you can do when you're cutting vinyl where you can make it, there's a name for it which I can't remember, but you can make the needle like slip into the middle and you can basically create an infinite loop. And I wanted to do that, but I was like, I don't know if anyone needs to hear like a held choral note, but I think it might drive people a bit mad.
Oh, yeah. What is that called? That's like a locked groove or something
locked
like
groove,
that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. I would have appreciated that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've been accidentally listening to a locked groove for like 30 minutes before I realized. So like that's,
You know when you're like talking.
Would have been out there.
Literally, when you're talking like this and you're just like, has that track been playing for like 45? Yeah, literally.
I would 1000% take 45 minutes of Humanize. Much more than that, to be honest. But we have more Humanize to talk about.
We do.
Rehumanize.
Rehumanize. You heard it here first.
Breaking news. Rehumanize is happening, and if I'm not mistaken, it is remixes.
It is.
Or interpretations of Humanize for the club.
For the club. Well, because the club was always waiting in the wings, let's be honest. And I do love it.
Yeah.
So basically, I had obviously the A Trip and the Romy and the Fuckers remix, and the one that I did with Tom VR. And then I was like, I started making like dance music again after finishing Humanize, which I was really enjoying. And then I was just like, do you know what? I feel like I want to be able to, I couldn't really play this music in the club, but I knew that there was a whole new audience of people that were maybe coming to my club shows, maybe wanted to hear it. And I was like, I needed to find a way of like kind of making that happen without like really slowing down the pace of the night.
Totally. Well, I love that it's also kind of finding its way home.
Yes,
in a way.
Fully.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
So I just like started working on a couple of tracks, and I was like, I think I'm just going to remix the album. So here we are.
Well, speaking of the club, tonight you were playing
a
very fun fucking show.
Yeah, I can't wait.
With Romy and Fred again.
And
I love that you guys are running back that very first USB show from 2021.
First ever. That is so mad.
Yeah.
So this is so crazy. This is the first time. I've played with Romy like so many times. We have like such a dear friendship, and I've played with Fred a bunch of times. I love him so much, but it's the first time we have all played together, three of us, since Lights Out came out. And since that first show. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think tonight's going to be super special.
Oh, I love that. I remember talking to, because I interviewed Fred in like 2022.
Yeah.
And he was like specifically talking about, what was it, the confetti cannons or something like that you guys had? Can we expect confetti cannons tonight?
Oh, probably. I'm pretty sure they've got the budget. So.
Oh my God, too
I'm sure there'll be confetti galore. What's quite funny about that show is that we had this thing where we were like, I think we were like referencing Tiga Tiga released a track over Glastonbury like 7 years ago or something, maybe longer. And as a thing, he played like so many shows at like, he did so many pop-up DJ sets and played, I think he ended up playing his track like about 15 times at Glastonbury. And we were just like, and it got so much heat because everyone was just talking about this track that they kept on hearing, but it was like Tiga playing it.
Oh my God,
so we were like, how many times can we play Lights Out at the thing? And I think we played it like about 8 times at our own party.
Please break that record again tonight.
But no one had heard it. So we were just like...
I have heard it.
Yeah.
Way more than 8 times, I can tell you that. And I would die to hear it 9 times tonight. So.
Wow. Yeah, I think we have a little special surprise for tonight as well.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, which I think is going to be very cute.
Cute. Okay, well, I feel like the 3 of you together is also kind of just like genre royalty. It's like a great meeting of the minds.
I'm excited to see where we go, actually.
I love it. I love that it's going to be, sounds like loose with some surprises and things like that.
100%.
Okay, fantastic.
Surprises galore. Yeah, I was having a listen to some tunes yesterday and I was just like, this is, I think because we've definitely got like a lot of common ground in what we play, but we come from music from such, Romy's like emotional trance. Fred is like with his DJing at the minute, like leaning into a lot of kind of like bassier, like kind of very like ravey club stuff, which I love those 2 worlds so much. And I was like, oh, I can straddle the hell out of this.
Absolutely,
Like,
be the
yeah.
bridge. That's fantastic. Also, just like the idea of seeing the three of you DJing together just makes me also really excited about just like the state of electronic music right now in general.
Same.
Yeah, I like. What are you excited about in the genre? I mean, obviously amongst yourselves, but also just at large.
I mean, there's so much. I feel like there's such a like. I feel like there's been a really nice shift in like dance music recently. I feel like there's been a real like, and I mean, I speak like mostly from like parties and stuff in London. There's been so many insane like queer parties that are really like thriving. I feel like there's lots of music, dance music has been sort of quite tough in some areas for a while now. But the thing that I feel it's just got such like a pulse is queer parties, and I feel like the producers that are coming out of these parties as well are just like making such insane music. And like,
Can you name a few?
Yes, Rini is a producer that I'm really loving at the moment. They're like an incredible DJ. Julie Desire is someone who I'm just like, her production is, she sent me this track, I think it's called like This Is For The Queers or something. So many people are playing this track at the minute and I just am obsessed with it. It's just got it's so queer. It's so like, it just has so much like energy and joy, and it's like one of those ones that you can play at any point in the night and it would just do exactly the same thing every time. It's just wicked. We'll definitely find space for it tonight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot wait for that drop.
Yeah, but there's like, I don't know, I just feel like there's just so, another amazing producer called Hezen from London as well, or like living in London. But yeah, I mean, I think there's just these really, I feel like we've got some really amazing, like quite like boundary pushing queer parties at the minute, like Playbody, Club R, in particular, two like in particular that I just think are really, and like, I mean, not that it's like only queer, but like Unfold at Fold is like, cause I just feel like it's just been a really amazing mainstay queer party for ages.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hi, putting me on. Thank you, Tennille.
Thank
for
you.
the
Thanks for
amazing
having
conversation.
me. I loved it. That's a wrap. You heard it here first.
We're rehumanizing this.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.